Hi, I'm Greg and we are Birdwise East Kent. Today we're going to show you the Pegwell Bay Nature Reserve and how it is one of the biggest nature reserves in Kent, and also how it's a massive migratory area for bird life.
So the site here is open to everyone. We just ask that you stick to the pathways, and if you've got a dog with you, please keep it on the lead or keep it under close control just to prevent disturbance to the wildlife here. The walk we'll take you on is about a 4.5 kilometre loop. Sometimes it gets a bit muddy, it's a little bit uneven, so wear some good shoes and just be prepared for the weather. There's sometimes a bit of a wind here, as you might be able to see, so pack an extra layer. We recommend the best time to come is about 2 hours after low tide, which is when the birds will be getting pushed in a little bit closer to you, but really any time is amazing.
So what makes up most of the site here is actually the mudflats, and this area is actually a restricted area, so we don't ask anyone to go out there, but it does mean that quite a few of the bird life is actually quite far away, so we do say bring some binoculars so then you can see them up close. But what we're going to do now is going to show you all the areas that is perfect for this site, where you can see the most wildlife, and also we're going to end up where the seals are right at the end. So just before we go on a walk, we're going to show you this area here. So this is a dog exercise area, and you can go here and let off your dog off the lead, and it will run freely without any restrictions, and it's very good for socialising as well. So the way you find this is straight through the gates at Pegwell Bay car park, and your first right down that pathway.
The first thing we recommend checking out is the garage pool, which can be found to the left of the car park. In the summer months it's often completely dry, but in the winter there's always lots of water and bird life, especially redshank, lapwing and little egrets as well. We often see some rarities, so it's definitely worth having a look.
This corner here is actually a really good place to see wildlife. There's loads of different species all the way around here, especially there's a huge amount of curlews. So curlews are one of our largest species of waders in the UK, and they're the ones with a long beak that curves downwards. And if you want to see them, they're probably hiding amongst the reeds here, and you'll definitely hear them.
Trust, we use livestock to help us manage our nature reserves. Here we have Conic and Exmoor ponies and Highland cattle. The horses behind me are Conic ponies. They are extremely hardy and very intelligent. They can find the best places for shelter and new edible plants. They can also cope with vegetation that is low in nutritional value. All these characteristics make them really well suited to living in nature reserves. However, they can be very curious and can appear tame, but please don't be tempted to feed them, as this can pose a serious risk to their health.
Okay, so keep an eye out for this sign here. Once you find that, we're going to walk down this path through the gate and keep to the left the whole way along until we find the seals.
Pegwell Bay is best known for the thousands of birds that call it a home every winter. There is a lot more to see here. For example, there are 1,200 species of moth that live here, including some species that are found nowhere else in the country, like the bright-waved moth. We also have several species of orchid. In the hoverport, we can find hundreds of bee and man orchids coming into flower every spring. And here in Stoneleys we can find common twate blade, common spotted, pyramidal and southern marsh orchids, all in the open areas.
spend some time looking at the seals, which will be hanging out on the riverbank down here. It's mostly harbour seals and some grey seals, and they'll be here all year round.
So if you want to go back to the car park, then go the exact same way but in the opposite direction, right back to the car park. Or if you're more adventurous, then you can go more inland but stick to the similar direction, and I'm sure you'll get to the car park as well.
If you'd like any more information, then just check out our website and social media, or even better, come along to a real life walk and talk and we can help you with any questions or any identification.
Hi, my name's Greg and I'm a part of Birdwise East Kent, and today we're going to do a walk and talk around the Botany Bay area from Kingsgate all the way to Fourness Point. So this walk that I'm going to take you on is quite a long one, so remember to try and pick and choose where you're going to go down to what you want to see, but also remember that the tide is a massive factor because we're going to go along the beach, so remember sturdy footwear, but also the tide is going to be coming in and out and you can get cut off, so remember to come around low tide so then you won't get cut off. So I'd highly recommend getting this leaflet called the White Cliffs of Kingsgate, and this really shows where you can go in certain areas to find different historical significance or animal significance. Just before we go on a walk, just remember that if you think you're going to disturb or get too close to any birds, then please go the opposite direction or try and go round, so then you're not going to disturb them and hopefully they can survive over this winter, so then we can see them back with their chicks next year. So this bay is called White Ness and it actually gets cut off by the tide. This means that a lot of species try and roost here, and this means that a lot of gulls and wading species are able to have no human disturbance, so it's the best place for them to roost up and try and recuperate while their food isn't available. So this is where we're going to go down towards the beach, but this area also has huge historical significance, being the buildings around here used to be a part of Sir Holland's estate, but the real reason that we want to go down here is because of this. This arch has a lifespan of about 10 more years, so definitely come down and see it, but remember, if you're going to go through or around, then definitely wear some sturdy shoes because it can be really slippery, and also after a storm in the winter it definitely can have falls, so you can see how much chalk is still left up there. That can all fall down, so just be careful and stay safe. The history around here is absolutely fascinating, with a lot of smugglers in this area. So this keyhole cave is actually where they think that they used to moor up their boats, because it's smaller at the bottom where the base would be and the sail would be bigger, so that means that it would fit directly straight in to this cave here. Keep an eye out along your feet, because there's loads of different fossils that you could see, especially these pieces of giant oyster. This area is really natural and it makes so many different caves just like this, and even in this cave there is some species that we can't find anywhere else in the world but thanet, and it is algae plastered along the chalk. Here's a great spot to actually stop at because of the fulmars that we have here. So in spring to summertime they'll be breeding, and in just this section here we had 13 different pairs. So the fulmars are a relative of the albatross, and we get to see quite a few of them because of our chalk cliffs. But actually if you get a bit too close they can actually sneeze salt at you to deter you. These holes here have been used for many different things, but they're most commonly known as the smuggler's holes. Stacks are very iconic in the Thanet area, especially for Botany Bay, and this is the perfect place to actually look out to see if you can find any little egrets, because there is loads around here. This area here is perfect. There's a lot of different species. There's some oyster catchers out there. There's loads of crows that are dragging up all their shellfish and dropping from the height onto the promenade to break them, so then they can eat the inside. There's also a grey heron that is standing over them, showing how big it actually is. And then also all these turnstones that are actually on the rocks right now. When the tide comes in, this will be a roosting site all along this stretch here. So we want to try and stop people from coming at here at high tide, but at low tide it's so good. You can see so many different species just from this spot. Forenest area is actually a really great place to go because we've got loads of different plant species and even pyramidal orchids here, but you can also remember to see loads of different kestrels flying above you. Thank you so much for watching. Please look on our website to see any of the Daring Dozen and learn much more about them. And also, if you'd like to see any of our events, so walks and talks, and actually come along to one of these, then please look on our events page on our website.